Right, right.
And I go in for the fight, you know, I have to catch myself, you know. It's like, but it's going to take half an hour, and then we'll go, oh, God, I've got to get out of this. And then I center myself, I come back, you know, but it's like, it's, you know, like a good scrap.
Well, especially I would think when you are seeing psychically the horrors that some of these beings are manifesting here. I don't need to mention them, but we all know that the worst thing that you can imagine is going on right now.
Yeah.
So, and it's going on right under the guise of light, of religion, and politics, and everything else. So, it must be difficult to not feel the need to, what's the word? Have some kind of karmic retribution.
That's right. Yeah, it is difficult because when that happens to me, though, what I do is I go back to center and I process my own anger or fear or disgust first, right? And then I go back and I just look at them and allow that energy to come through me without me putting any flavor into it. And that's going to be a lot more effective. I don't, you know, once you release attachment to results, that.
Right, absolutely right. Are you still moved around? I know I identified with that when I heard you mention that in your video, because I'm moved around all the time. I'll get an urge to go to the store in the middle of the night and get some ice cream, and I'll find somebody standing in an aisle, and we'll have a brief encounter, and I just know that was why I was going to the store.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of people related to that. What was the reaction to that video? I know there's been some adverse reactions, minimal adverse reaction, which is expected, but did you have a wave of positive reactions to that?
Yes, it's been 90%, I'd say, positive. And I'd say about 7% indifferent and 3% negative to it, really. But I mean, it's because it's a message, and Bill and I kept. We didn't release it for quite a while. I mean, we recorded it in March, but he wanted to release it right away. But every time I looked at it, I thought, no, it's not ready yet. The energy's not right. And so I had to look through it, and you know, he allowed me the option to give my final say, yeah, it's ready now. And one of the things that happened, for example, was that as he was editing it, he told me he would go into an altered state himself, right? So it was obvious from the start that it had nothing to do with me, really, the video interview, but there's some sort of energy or force that came through, and everybody who is open to it would receive whatever it is that they need by looking at the video. And like you said, when you watch it again, then something else comes through. And one of the things that has been wonderful about it is that so many people, thousands of people have emailed me saying, I'm just like you, you know, it's like, this is my life experience. And that's how I experience life. And it's just to say, look, you're not alone, and now it's time to do this work. You know?
Well, you know, it's wonderful to have people like you on the forefront validating the positive side, because for so many years, I think a lot of us who have been doing our homework or trying to shift into a spiritual mode have felt that, you know, we've been kind of alone out there on the abandoned on an island.
Right.
And now we can begin to see that there are forces arriving, refreshing forces, to be sure. And that we're not alone, and we are all in this together. And that brings me to another question. Do you see, in the ascension process, do you see this is a big question for everybody. Do you see a partial ascension of people who are ready to ascend, or people going to different levels, or some not making it, or how? Is that a linear view of ascension process? Yeah,
it's a little bit linear, but the answer is actually quite simple. If you want to know where you are in the ascension process, have a look and see how pliable your reality is. Right? How pliable is it? How many synchronistic events and things are happening around you? And then you'll know where you are. Right? And if you're in a lot of fear right now and everything's going wrong for you, then you need to process your fear and you can come out of it. You don't need a savior. You don't need anybody else to do it for you. You can do it yourself. Process your fear, and that will raise your vibration, and you'll start that new, entering into the new shift thing.
Well, that's a wonderful answer. I like that one. And also, isn't the universe a mirror for us to make our corrections? Because it's an inner process, and what we see out there around us is the mirror for us to make course adjustments. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, everything, like even this conversation and the person that's listening to it, is really happening at a subjective level. Even if they think it's objective, because, science has separated the two. It isn't really. It's happening inside your perceptions, your mind. Right?
Yeah.
So, and when I know that doing okay is that, it's like the environment is reflecting back to me that support, that love, that pliability of me being able to interact with it at a very deep level. Which is all inside me, really, right?
Well, now, in a sense, if we think about time not existing, this has already happened and we've already succeeded.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so if we project into that, into the reality that's outside of this timeline, then we know that we've already made it.
Yeah.
But that's a hard thing to keep in mind.
Right.
So.
And that's actually, that reminds me there, when we did a call with Lucian on the 13th of August, we did an exercise for changing the collective timeline, or not changing, but tapping into a collective timeline that we like. This is how I like to see it. And it was basically, it's a little exercise, it's only 4.5 minutes long, and I've placed it on the Tools tab of the Ascension 101 website, and it's on YouTube as well. And one of the things that I'm asking people is to click on it and just do the exercise and then share it, because the more we do it, the more of us that do it, the better. Because the more of us are tapping into that particular one, which is basically an earth which is clean air, clean water from our taps, clean cities, clean collectives, and tapping into that energy and that reality.
Now, just so that we have a good idea of how you see ascension, can you give us a description of what that process might be like for humanity as we go through that? I mean, what is the ascension process itself? Is it the return to source, or reconnection to our higher self, lifting of the veil, all of the above, none of the above?
Well, all of the above within individual will be something different.
Okay.
Because, for example, somebody who is in a very deep depression, their ascension process might bring them to contentment, right? And then somebody will want to go all the way back to source. So they can do that. I mean, it's wide open right now. The moment and time space that we are at the moment is unique, and I think it's probably because of where the planet is going through at a galactic level, is going through this area of very high vibration, and also all these other things are happening, and all these beings have come into the planet to raise the level of vibration of the planet. So, and this very moment is wide open, so each individual can really choose where they want to go. There's the individuals who really just want a very similar reality to this one, but more pliable, where they have more power and ability to create the stuff they want, the reality they want, to be able to be supported by the environment, to be able to not have to pay to live on this planet.
Right.
Very simple things, but very physical things also, right? Perhaps they want to meet their soulmate or something like that, experience a level of connection with another person or another group, or just with source, or be able to see other dimensions and other beings, or to be able to communicate with ETs, at a physical level. So it could be all sorts of different flavors and capacities that each individual want to achieve. And the beauty of it is that it can happen all in the same planet.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
We're almost out of time, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to share what you feel, given the feedback that you've had from people and given your own experience and your connection to Source. What's the most important message you would like to share with us tonight?
Okay, the most important message is the secret that the powers that were don't want you to know is that we are able to create and to manipulate our own reality. Right? Now. Not in the future, not in the past, but now. And the only reason why we're not doing that, like really each individual is not doing that, because the agreement and the programming has been placed there by the powers that were to say that we can't. We take away that agreement and we can do it. Right? And what is that agreement? It's the energy of fear. The energy of fear, what others might do with the reality, the energy of fear, what might we do if we have free reign of what we can do, fear of taking full responsibility for everything, because it's so much easier, right, to give responsibility to somebody else. So, yeah, I would say that's what it is.
Wonderful. Well, I hope that you're one of many thousands of people who will come to the fore and start sharing. You certainly are on the forefront right now. And I was thinking it might even be fun for you and Lucia and myself to do a show together sometime.
Oh, I love that idea.
Oh, yeah, I just love having her on the show. And the second I saw you in that video, I just felt an instant bonding with you. I felt like I had to talk to you.
Thank you.
And you're such a delight and a wonderful person to have on the planet. I can't thank you enough for being here, and for being who you are. That takes a lot of courage, and you do it with grace and finesse.
Oh, thank you.
Now, before we go, let's make sure that everybody knows how they can find you, and if there's any event that you're going to be at that you want to talk about, mention that as well.
They can find me at ascension101.com, and there's a newsletter there and also an events page, and if they click on they subscribe to the newsletter, anything that I might be involved with will be posted there.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, Inelia, thank you so much for being with us. Come back again, and you have an open invitation to be on the show, and like I said, maybe we can do a three-way call with Lucia again.
I would love that. Thank you so
good.
much
Wonderful.
For having me.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I guess that's it. Be in the light. Raise the vibration.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Inelia.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Distribution.
That's right. Yeah, it is difficult because when that happens to me, though, what I do is I go back to center and I process my own anger or fear or disgust first, right? And then I go back and I just look at them and allow that energy to come through me without me putting any flavor into it. And that's going to be a lot more effective.
Yes.
I don't, once you release attachment to results, that...
Right. Absolutely right. Under the guise of light, of religion, and politics and everything else. So it must be difficult to not feel the need to, have some kind of karmic retribution when you are seeing psychically the horrors that some of these beings are manifesting here. I don't need to mention them, but we all know that the worst thing that you can imagine is going on right now. So, and it's going on right.
Yeah, it's going for the fight. I have to catch myself. It's like, but it's going to take half an hour, and then we'll go, oh God, I've got to get out of this. And then I center myself, I come back. But it's like Yeah, it's, like good scrap.
Well, especially I would think